Hi, my name is Jade,
And my name is Yohance.
and welcome to our channel,
Get
Into
into
the
the
Black,
black.
where we share with you our experience living here in Puerto Rico.
So today we want to talk about everything that is crazed Kendrick Lamar and the Drake rap beef. And we've been having a lot of conversation back and forth about it. We were consumed with it like everyone else. And I really want to kind of put out our perspective on what's happening because we're from LA. Jay lived family and stuff from Compton. I'm family from LA.
Correction, we're not from Compton.
I see you got family live over there in Compton.
No, my mom, and then when they first came to California, lived in Compton for like a few years.
Yeah, so we got
But we
connection to
don't.
Compton.
We don't say we from Compton. If anything, they
I
would say
live
they
right
from
next door to
Paramount,
Compton.
or I say I'm from Long Beach.
I don't claim Compton either. But my family's from
But
Compton.
it's close though.
I got family from Compton. I got family from over there. I got family over at TDE. So it's
over
all
the
good.
bridge. Over the bridge.
Bridge.
So I'll let you have it. I'll let you have it. It's over the bridge.
And so we want to just a lot of the stuff that we were important that really touched us because being here in Puerto Rico and moving from a culture like LA is that we find people don't understand and how we move, how we talk and stuff like that. Like I have people they'll talk like, man, why do you talk that way? It's like you use your voice in a like a musical instrument, like you go up and down and the inflection of stuff. And it's funny because Kendrick is a Gemini like I am. But it's not even just because we're Gemini, it's just from LA, that's how we talk.
Yeah.
We
Animated.
And being in Puerto Rico, I'm in my element and the fact that I don't feel like I need to put on for anybody out here.
It's that was it African American vernacular English, and I would say specifically that's like a SoCal dialect that they're trying to describe. They're like, oh, it sounds interesting.
Yeah.
But for us, it's like so normal. Like some people would say like Valley Girl. That's what they will say. Like, because even if you're black, you will sometimes speak like that. I remember growing up, they would call me white girl because I talk like a Valley Girl because I went to private schools. But then you also have people who went to public school or was more in like a different setting. I would say a little bit more urban or hood. Yeah. And they talk a little bit different, but they still don't sound like everybody else. So when you go to somewhere else, people are like, oh, you from Cali, which is the funny part because they usually know it's always Cali.
Right. They know the California. So yeah. With that is one of the perspectives I wanted to get from you is that what we noticed at the beginning of Euphoria, Kendrick Lamar, is that he was specifically focusing on something that's really interesting, which is culture. And being in Puerto Rico, we find that culture is a very prideful thing that local Puerto Ricans around the world really hold on to. And one of the things that I learned in being here is, and I noticed it, I was like, yo, you have New Ricans, right? And they'll come to Puerto Rico and realize that culturally they're different from local Puerto Ricans from, say, Caguas, right in the middle, or from the South, a different thing. Like the people here would call them gringo. Yeah. And it's like,
it's like, what? You guys come from the same culture, but because the nationality, even though technically
they don't come from the same culture, though. That's the whole point. They have the same nationality. They're Puerto Rican, but the culture is different, isn't it?
No, you're describing ethnicity. Their ethnicity is Puerto Rican. Right. Technically speaking, Puerto Rico's nationality is American. The difference would be is their ethnicity are all Puerto Rican, but within that, there's some slight cultural differences because of where they geographically live at. Kind of how like black people like, and this is what was misunderstood commonly with this whole argument because people took what Kendrick was saying to mean as if Kendrick was saying that Drake was not black.
Right.
And he was not telling him he wasn't black. He was saying that he did not grow up in African American or Black American culture. And because of that, he kind of navigates this world of hip hop that is predominantly Black American culture. He navigates it in this weird kind of, he called it a colonizer at one point, because it can't come off that way. Like him buying the necklaces and all the jewelry of people. A lot of people have said this is reminiscent of like when white people would take our rubies and our jewels. And too, because Drake doesn't buy these items to pay homage to the people. He buys them as a way to like flex, like I got your shit, like and it just rubs people the wrong way. I see that a lot here in Puerto Rico, and being that they are so prideful in their culture, they will also be like, oh, you need to assimilate, which is some of the issues that we kind of run into, because we're very prideful of our culture as well. So you're trying to tell two people who are prideful in their culture, one needs to change what they do and their practices and customs to fit somewhere else. And it's like, why can't we just celebrate all different customs and practices?
And that's the biggest thing, is where why I always talk about how I'm offended. And because is that I didn't come here, or I don't even act that way. Even our content, I've gone back and looked at some of the stuff. I was like, that is because I watched other content of content creator stuff that they film people or how they move. I'm like, I can see how that would be like taken that way, right? Like as kind of a colonizer gringo, because they're acting as if they're saviors, right? Which is a big thing. Like Drake was trying to act like he's saving hip hop. He's saving them. He's giving them money. He's donating to them, right?
It's always whenever he does a collab with somebody, I made your career.
I gave you a number one. It's the language that people are using that like it really reflects and touched me personally and us. And that's why when we talk to people who are clueless and don't really comprehend what culture means versus ethnicity and nationality, like all those three things are really blurred. Even I was like, I know, but like, do I really comprehend? And that's why Jade is doing very well, because she's a master of this type of stuff, right? This is her lane. And you really brought it out. And I'm sitting here listening, right? Because I got my opinion. I want to feel like strong about something.
Well, because I think you get it. It's just the words can be confusing because a lot of people don't get it. So it gets all muddled. That's why you had this whole argument, and why people were so confused by the time that Meet the Grams came out and Kendrick refers to Adonis as you're going to one day be a black man. And they're like, so how is Drake not black, but Adonis is black? Because he never said that Drake was not black.
Never said it.
Just because you're black and you exist in blackness does not mean that you have a right to other cultures and ethnicities within blackness.
Yeah.
And I think it brought up a very important thing, because I feel like a lot of times people do not identify African Americans, Black Americans, foundational, whatever you want to call us, our multiple names that we have. People do not like to acknowledge that we have our own culture and identity within blackness. We are not just black. We are our own ethnicity and group of people, and we have our own little stuff that we do, our sayings, like not all skin folk be kin folk. Like if you came from the black community or Black American community, you understood what Kendrick was saying immediately.
And that's why people were saying, if you're white or you're from another ethnicity, you might want to sit this out. We don't really need your opinion on this, because you're pushing a narrative that is completely missing what's going on here, and you're culturally insensitive on what's happening.
And then being rude about it, though, and telling us how we act and how we behave. And all of a sudden, colorism becomes like a reverse effect. Now, all of a sudden, it's the dark-skinned people who benefits from colorism. And I had to like pull out the definition for people. Like, no, colorism does not benefit dark-skinned people. Yes, we might not be the nicest to you. Possibly, I don't know, and it could be for a numerous of reasons.
Yeah.
But the fact that you contribute anytime a dark skinned person says something to you that you perceive to be negative, and you take it as a means of an attack because of what you look like,
Yep.
it tells us more about what you think about that dark skinned person, because you've been raised up probably in the idea. So, and I got this because I was talking to some girl and she goes, growing up, and probably other people have probably heard this same conversation. Yeah. Growing up, people told me that dark skinned people were bitter because I was mixed. Bitter? So yeah. We're upset that you are of mixed race. Why would we be upset? What do you feel about somebody being black or fully black or dark skin that would make us have animosity because you are of lighter skin tone?
No sense.
Yes, that is what they're describing as colorism. They're trying to say we're bitter because they're light skinned. Mm-hmm. And it tells us what you think about dark skinned people. You think that you have something that makes you better than them. Mm-hmm. Thus, they don't like you. When the reality is, it's actually you do get a benefit from being light skinned, but we're not necessarily bitter because of it. We might be upset that we see you getting certain privileges because of the way that you look, but who would be upset at the dark skinned person for feeling that way? I think if anybody is in a situation that is not equitable and you see that it's not, yeah, I think it's kind of common sense for somebody to be kind of like, that ain't right. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And the fact that you take it automatically, and that's what I didn't like, because then it turned into a situation where then light-skinned, biracial, mixed people, I wouldn't say everybody because it definitely wasn't everybody.
Right.
But then their whole animosity and how they really felt about dark-skinned people came out.
Oh, it's like Top Dog tweeted this. The CEO of Top Dog Entertainment, which is Kendrick's old label, said like, you know, that was a good exhibition. Like, hey, those people really showed who their colors and how they feel, and they'll be dealt with. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was just like really, I thought was really key, because how people really felt about music, which was the problem. Mm-hmm. Like, there were so many people like, I don't care about the lyrics, I don't care about the rhyming, I just want to hear banging music. I don't want to think. I don't want to have to pull up a thesaurus.
They were making it seem like
the word. I was just like, y'all act like you can just enjoy it. You ain't gotta like understand the double and triple entendres and what all that meaning is. For those who like to do that, can. And that's the whole point, is that he literally makes music for all of us, not just you.
Yeah.
And that was really what the exposure was, is that like, we are in a space where all the people who wanted to, he was like, just keep me dancing and waving my hands and you won't be no threat, right? Yeah. And so it's just like, and that's the whole point of Kendrick. I felt this way when I saw Kendrick. I feel like he came to Morehouse back in like 2008, 2009, when I want to be successful at that time. But when he first came out, I was like, I like his music, but I just don't want him to get lost in trying to be a thug.
Oh, you mean Drake?
Drake, I'm sorry, Drake.
Yeah.
And I was just like, but it was always kind of weird. He always made me feel uncomfortable. But that's because where I come from and who I am as a person. Like, I like authenticity, right? I like someone who really is going to be the best version of themselves. And Drake was a person that always questioned his identity. Mm-hmm. And being from where I'm from, you can smell that. And I'll give a quick example of this, is that growing up in South Central LA, like, I live in Puerto Rico. I went to college, grad school. I've always been to things that are not necessarily traditional to South Central LA. And my friends and family will make fun of me, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, some of the stuff they would say, I ain't gonna go there. It's probably not appropriate. But like, they would just make fun of me. But at the end of the day, I'm like, yo, that's family. And what I would do is make fun of them back, right?
Yeah.
Not in like a hurtful way and get all butthurt, right? I'd be like, man, yo, look at your feet. Why them things laying like that? You think you got them perfectly creased Jordans on? Or because I never wore Jordans, right? I didn't wear those clothes. Like, I wore Brooks Brothers and and Ralph Lauren stuff and not the typical stuff, right? I was into things a little bit different than what my neighborhood. So that's why I'm living in Puerto Rico. That's why I'm doing things that are different. But I never felt I did go through a point which I think Kendrick and everyone goes through is where you feel resentment. I'll speak for myself. There was a point where I felt resentment from being where I was from, and I felt some type of shame at first because I started getting outside influences saying, "Oh, gang culture, gang life is bad," and this stuff like that. And I had experienced the bad part of gang culture in life. I would get pulled over by cops. I would get profiled. I had friends get murdered by gang members, senseless family members, and things like that. So compounding of that changing time in my life when I was 18 to 22, I felt that. And then when I went to Morehouse and I saw people who was claiming that culture, and I kind of felt, and I noticed I felt a little connected to them. And then come to find out they wasn't really from that about that life. And I remember I used to check people on accident. I do it here today sometimes. Like still, like I'm genuinely questioning, just asking questions like, oh, what about this and that and that and that, and they're like, well, I'm not really from there. I'm not this, and it's like,
well, yeah, no, I think that happens too. Anytime you go to another space, so like saying when I went to school in Santa Barbara, there will be people who come from like LA County or
the county, because that county is big. It's one of the
not
largest
even
ones.
not even, and it wouldn't even be the county. They would be outside of LA County.
San Bernardino County, Inland Empire,
and they would be like, I'm from LA. And then so then you'll go to ask them like, oh, what part of LA? What like
what high school
LA County?
That's the thing. What high school you went to?
Yeah, because I even like being from Long Beach. I would never say I'm from LA, even though I'm technically in LA County. I would say I'm from Long Beach. So when I hear I'm from LA, I'm thinking like people are actually from the city of LA. But then when you go and ask them, they're like, I'm from what's some
Rancho Cucamonga.
Yeah, like some random place, San Bernardino, and you're like, you're not from LA, but I get it. You're like not even really close.
I was in Thailand one time, and I was doing the full moon party in Thailand, and these guys from Germany came up to me and was like, "Oh, we're just talking." And they was like, "Where are you from?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm from California." And it was like, "Compton, Domino, mother effer," and they were just like, "Oh," and they were just so excited. And I was like, "I'm not from Compton," you know.
Yeah.
And so we were doing body painting, and so I wrote South Central, Domino, mother effer on my back. Just being silly because it was a silly, you know.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm not about to write Compton. They was like, yeah, you should put Compton and stuff. I was like, no, I'm not from Compton. And in that moment, 40 minutes, an hour later, I ran into a guy that was from South Central LA that was grew up 6 blocks away from me in Thailand. That's why it's so important. If I would have put Compton and then he would have asked me, yo, you from Compton? Well, no, not really, because and that's
it would have been awkward. You would have been looking like Meek over there doing the bunny house.
Exactly, right? Face, salt, like, and ashy face. You know what I mean?
What's going on, sir?
But to just I guess bring it back. But these are real life examples and things where the interaction is different. You know what I mean? Like it's more genuine when you're okay. And I understand where the narrative of what Kendrick was trying to bring to light, and he was warning him, saying like, here's a script, this is how we do it. Like, I'm not even trying to play you like that, bro, but like, if you was a real dude, you would realize your homies is trying to make a profit off of you, right? And so it was one of those, it was like really, I was like, yo, he's really, and I'm a Gemini and I'm crazy like that. So I'd be warning people like, hey, this is how it can go this way. I can foresee the future, how this is going to play out. I lived a little life, done this before. And I see how a lot of people here in Puerto Rico, when I'm out in the countryside or when I'm out dealing with people, why I get along with them, because I'm not trying to be something I'm not. I
Mm-hmm.
am who I am. I know what I know, and that is it. And I'm trying to learn more. So I'm coming from a humble state, and that's all. But I'm not a traditional humble where people are like, oh, you need to be humble. I'm not a meek person. I'm not a
Mm-hmm.
person that is not confident in what I do know. And I'm not an arrogant person where I feel like I know everything. I'm not. That's not who I am, and I won't back down or allow someone to tell me this is who you are based off of their lack of knowledge and comprehension of things I might have said before. And I'll wrap it up with this: is that I've gone through the process of questioning, what does it mean to be from this culture? What does it mean to be from this? And it's a ever growing process that I am developing, and we're growing and we're identifying. And I'm very confident in that learning process. And I think that's what Drake needs. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what the world
Yeah.
needs. That's what Puerto Rico needs. Like, we've said it multiple times. You come to our places in the mainland,
Yeah.
United States, and you're like family. You're called the N word. You actually use the
Yeah.
N word, right?
We allow you into our community, and we don't tell you, oh, you need to assimilate. No, you take on the parts that I've never heard a black person ever tell anybody, you need to assimilate. You
Right.
having a hard time because you want to assimilate. What?
No.
No, what?
No.
I ain't never told you to stop eating mofongo.
Right.
Like, what?
And that's the thing, is just like, and so it's that energy. And I'm grateful for our listeners and the people who've come to our defense in the comment section,
Mm-hmm.
who's reached out to us personally saying like, hey, we not all like that, and we
Yeah.
know that, right? So we just want to make sure we shout you all out that you've been supportive and speaking
Yeah.
up. And this is a community where we want to govern ourselves. I moved to Puerto Rico, and making the moves we're doing so we can learn how to govern ourselves and not depend on the government so much. You made a prime example of when you're in when countries are working, when countries, for example, own each other. It's like the way some people look at it, as if you own me, or it's like a personal thing. It's
Yeah.
like, but it's not like that is a business. A country is a corporation. It is a
Yeah. It's
business,
not a
right?
person. It's not like they're enslaving people. And that's just kind of how I look at it. Because one, I don't really
This
like
is a
this whole
difference.
nationalist type
Yeah,
of.
we
I don't
bring.
like anything. I wish all of us was just able to govern ourselves and we just move amongst the world freely. But if we're gonna have the systems, I don't. For me, I don't understand the. I get why some people don't want their country to be like a territory of another place. I get it in
Mm-hmm.
theory. I understand it. I just don't understand why it gets so crazy, and why, like I said, it's like, for me, a country is a company, a corporation. It's not a human being. Yes, there's human beings that exist within it, but at the end of the day, it's still a company, a corporation.
Mm-hmm.
So this idea that, oh, I'm your territory, as if like you like own a person, is like weird, because I feel like people take it on as if it's like that country literally like owns you.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's as if Dasani getting so upset at Coke because they're owned by Coke. And it's like, well, there's people that work in Dasani. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, but these are a business relationship, and everyone's trying to figure out how do these two companies work together and produce the best product. And yes, the decisions that they're making do impact people,
Mm-hmm.
but the idea is just like, 'cause what we were talking about was Jamaica, and how when Jamaica got their independence, they lost some privileges there.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening was more fights
Disable.
and stuff ended up resulting from that. And it's like, yeah, because when they were owned by someone else or in partnership with another country, that other country had benefits or privileges that those people could gain from it. So when that partnership ended, they were left to their own devices and they had to figure out how to survive, and that caused crime to increase.
Historically, that happens in every new country, and so that is because the powers are trying to find out
Mm-hmm.
who and what is the best narrative, right? So the thing is that it's not as simple as Gringo Go Home. It's not as
Mm-hmm.
simple as these narratives that people try to push. But it's a bigger conversation that we have to and we should have, and we should do it together versus against each other to say you are the problem when
Yeah.
you don't really know.
It's
You know
none
what I
of
mean?
us are actually the problem. The problem is the governments.
Yeah.
They're deciding
Who
on things that impacts
exactly?
us. Yeah. These individual people, these citizens, us just walking around doing our everyday today, we're just existing in the world that they pretty much created in regards to like laws and stuff like that that govern us, and we're just navigating through it. And to say that like somebody is doing something that's harming you because they're just existing in the world legally,
Yeah.
it's like you need to go take that up with the government if you honestly really believe
Mm-hmm.
that because something is legal, it is hurting other people. Then
Yeah.
yeah, you really need to go take that up with your government, because I can't change it. You could be upset at me all you want, but me
Yeah.
leaving or me not participating isn't going to change the fact that these legal things still exist and they still
Mm-hmm.
govern you. Because there's
Yeah.
just going to be somebody else who takes my place. So that's like it's not a best use of
Your
your
energy,
energy, but I
time.
understand it. Yeah, energy or time in regards to getting actual results. But it does probably make you feel a little bit better in the moment.
And with that being said, let us know who you think won the rap battle. I think it's clear by now.
Yeah, no, if anybody says anything else than the
If you
thing
say
I think you're
Drake,
going to say,
I'm looking at you side eye,
yo,
and I know who
land
you
of
are.
Delulu.
Right? I know who you are. I see right through you. Okay, I'm looking at you.
This is a Kendrick house. I hope you know that. Kendrick
Yeah,
channel.
it's America versus Canada. Okay,
Yo, they not
it's
like us.
yeah, they're not like us, and that's gonna bump all summer. We're excited to
Yeah.
listen more of it. I actually listened to the whole rap beef from start to finish without Drake's part because it's it's just good beats and that's it, and because it just doesn't make sense. But the whole
Yeah.
point is, let us know. Have you experienced this where you are just um people not being like us and feeling the uncomfortableness about someone not understanding your cultural experience? If was it at work? Have how did you feel like culturally, like your hair or just things like that? Let us know your experience of feeling like you've been around someone that's not like us. You know what I mean? And it was culturally unfitting for you. So
Yes.
we appreciate this. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and that you check out this what next video. Which video you want to check out?
Maybe you guys should check out, since we're talking about culture and things like that, one of our most popular videos, which is living in Puerto Rico as an African American. You should
Yes.
definitely check out that one. You know what? There's two that's pretty much titled the same. Check out the second one because that's the most recent one we did. I think it was for 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Check out that one because it'll be the most current in regards to how it is living here, being someone who is African American. You can use a lot of stuff of what we were talking about in regards to if you're just someone who comes from the African diaspora. You can definitely, there's a lot of stuff that's fitting for everyone.
Absolutely. So thank you for this time. And we will talk to you soon. And make sure you check out our Airbnb. You see how dope it is. You see the crown molding. You see all this. It's
Yes.
dope. And if
Yes.
you want to be an Airbnb host, make sure you click that link and join with us so we can support you in being a Airbnb host and get you on to the money making moves wherever you are. If it's here in Puerto Rico or if it's somewhere else, we're here for you and we can support you and get you set up.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
Bye.
Bye.